Before getting into the meat of the subject, I have to make a long disclaimer. I released a previous video earlier today where I talked about how Parler got hacked. And I got this information from different sources. A lot of left-leaning circles are talking about it. It's on Reddit. I showed screenshots of it. But apparently the CEO of Parler also came out and they said that they did not get hacked. And because I couldn't verify it one way or another, I couldn't see if the CEO is telling the truth or if the hackers are telling the truth, I decided to remove the video. I don't want to put misinformation out there. If I can help it, if I say something wrong, I will apologize and I take it down. And in this case, I want to apologize because I couldn't fact check it. I should have done more investigation and shouldn't rush with the story. Apparently, the CEO went on Fox News and said that he disagrees with the claims. So now you know. As for Parler itself being taken down, this is also something that I mentioned in the previous video. I don't think it has anything to do with Parler being a danger to democracy or spreading misinformation. Parler has the exact same terms of service like Twitter used to have 4 years ago. There is absolutely nothing different. Facebook had a terrorist live streaming an event where he went to mosques and shot people. And Facebook was not taken off. That you didn't see activists going against Facebook, asking for it to be shut down. Twitter has been used during the Arab Spring and during other events for certain rebels and even sometimes terrorists organizing with each other. This happened in the past. No one asked for Twitter to be taken down. The reality of the issue is that you have big corporations right now that are very profitable, and not only do they make a lot of money, they also manage to wield a lot of influence and power. And they do not want competition. The reason Parler is taken down is because it was promising competition. It had politicians going there, it had actors going there, it had influencers going there, and it was a rising star. And this is why they got nuked. And it's not just that Google and Apple decided to nuke them. Now their lawyers and everyone else has decided to leave them because they are afraid of Google and Apple. Any other company is afraid that if they're going to host Parler, if they're going to allow Parler to stay on their platform, they are going to be next. So it's really a culture of online fear that is being propagated by companies that have managed to get a big chunk of the market. A lot of people are cheering this up now. A lot of people are very happy and they're thinking that this is okay. But these people are thinking in the now rather than in 10 years from now. The current system that is being shown to us is very concerning because, again, you have unaccountable billionaires deciding what people are allowed and aren't allowed to be exposed on. Parler, as far as I understand, doesn't allow calls to violence on its platform. The FBI can subpoena Parler in order to show them any type of information that is already on their platform. There was no need to nuke Parler if you're worried about safety. This has not been done within the court system. It has not been done with justice. It has simply been done because companies can do it. So it's completely outside of the courts. And the idea that Parler represents a danger, it is simple PR by other corporations. It has nothing to do with what actually people think. There was no survey. There was no democratic vote to see if people legitimately view Parler as a threat or not. So with that said, I want to move on to other things. Now, as I mentioned in the title, Computing Forever's channel was deleted from YouTube. Now, Computing Forever is a channel that I watched, I believe, since 5, if not 6 years ago. It's actually one of the first channels that I have watched on YouTube. As I understand, he started talking about technology. He started talking about doing tech reviews, which is why the name Computing Forever stuck. But because of the politics slipping into every avenue and aspect of people's lives, he started going the more political route, and he started talking more about politics. And recently, he was making a lot of dangerous videos talking about COVID, and more specifically, the lockdowns, talking about Time Magazine and the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset and whatnot. And this has gotten him into trouble. Now, I don't think people are becoming more extreme. I don't think all of a sudden we have extremists everywhere. I think the terms of service of platforms are becoming more extreme. What you're allowed to talk about is now being dictated by companies that are unaccountable. No one gets to vote for them. And this is why they don't like competition. Because whenever one of these big companies decide you're not allowed to talk about X, then people move towards their competition in order to talk about X. Because they're not fixing the problem, which is the desire of people to talk about X. Simply silencing people does not do anything. And you can tell this if you're in a relationship. If your girlfriend has grievances and they're legitimate or illegitimate, real or made up, simply avoiding to have the conversation with her, simply telling her to shut up, isn't going to convince her that she is wrong, isn't going to solve it, and it's not going to make for a more healthy relationship. But it is the reality where we're at. So as I understand it, Computing Forever was not removed from YouTube all of a sudden, which shows me that he was not on a list of channels that get removed. He just received 3 community guideline strikes. And because of that, he's off the platform. He is never allowed to create another channel again. All his other channels are going to be shut down. And this is for life. He cannot have any type of recourse. There's nothing he can do in order to change this decision. It's permanent. So we're talking about a 500,000 subscriber channel with 100 million views. Just gone. Now, he knew this time will come, and he was delighted to be a part of this platform. He is going to support Altec, and I think he is now on BitChute, Minds, and Gab, and Odyssey, and other platforms where you can find them somewhere outside of Silicon Valley. And that's it. You know, I personally find it worrisome. The reason I find it worrisome is because one particular video that got struck down, and that video wasn't about him contradicting the science. He was contradicting the lockdown measures. So he was contradicting the policies surrounding the science. He was contradicting politicians and his government. He was basically saying, look, I don't like the fact that the lockdowns are causing economical problems. He didn't like the fact that people are losing their jobs. He didn't like the fact that businesses are being shut down. And because of this, he broke the TOS. Now, I'm not breaking the TOS, but I think I'm allowed, hopefully, to criticize the TOS. Because recently, another channel has been banned, which is Talk Radio. Talk Radio is operating in the United Kingdom. And the reason this is significant is that the UK does not have free speech like the United States allegedly has. The UK has a little corner in Hyde Park in London that's called the Free Speech Corner. And even there, activists have been arrested for having the audacity to free speak. So I just want to create the idea and the environment that is the UK. Now, in the UK, if you have a radio show, you need a license. And if you want to have your radio shows during normal hours when the children can be tuning into, you need to sanitize your content. It needs to be a very family-friendly content. And this is what talk radio used to be. It was very family-friendly. It had politicians on. It had influencers on. It had famous people on. We're not talking about some shack with some crackpot conspiracy theorist. And yet it violated the TOS. So we're talking about a program that the UK government gets to say, no, this is fine. Like, children can watch it. And yet YouTube says, no, it's dangerous. And they take it down. What's funny is that Talk Radio was #1 supporting censorship in the past. Just goes to show why you need to have principles is not to allow the people you disagree with to get a foothold, but it's to also protect you from being silenced. But the second thing is that they started criticizing the lockdown measures in the UK just when the government is talking about more lockdown measures. Is it really far-fetched? Is it really that outlandish to believe that maybe someone from the government contacted someone at Big Tech and told them to shut this channel down? It's a possibility. I'm not saying it happens, but is it really possible, or is it in the realm of impossibility? Because the UK government had did the same with, I believe, Tommy Robinson. I think like they also, like, again, they couldn't arrest him at the time for doing anything. So they just pressured the Silicon Valley companies to get rid of him. YouTube was the only company that put his channel in a limited state. They were like, okay, well, we can't really ban him because he didn't break the rules, but we're just going to put him in a limited state. Why is it difficult to believe that maybe this happened again? And this time it didn't happen publicly. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But the possibility of it happening in the future, you tell me why it wouldn't happen. It's not illegal. There's nothing ashamed of it. Private company can do whatever it wants. Politicians, they have free speech. They can literally just ask Silicon Valley, like, look, we don't like this. Just get it off. Just turn it off. Shut it down. Shut it down is dangerous. Again, they didn't use the arm of the state, the legal ways to shut it down. Because they did, like, criticizing the government is not illegal, believe it or not. At least not yet. You can do it. They cannot arrest you for it. But what they can do is to take your voice away. They get to say, imagine if back in the past, the ink and paper company would refuse to give ink and paper to your newspaper because you're dangerous. And they would just, man, like, no, we're not giving you ink and paper. Like, no. But yeah, I guess this is the future. Basically, if your ideas align with corporations, then you get promoted, then you get a megaphone. If they don't, then you get suppressed, then you're being made quiet. What's funny is that I noticed in China, the Communist Party is controlling corporations, but what seems to happen, at least in the United States, is that corporations are starting to control the government. Think about it this way. Like, if you're a politician, and Big Tech doesn't like you, so they shut down all of avenues of communication for you, and they lift up your opponents, and they also donate money to your opponents while they shut down everyone that donates money to you in order to disincentivize people from giving you cash. What chance do you have? What chance do you have of spreading your message across? How can you even have a democracy in such a situation? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.